Welcome to my first YouTube video. My name is Hope and I'm going to show you how to make a simple card using cheap products you can find at your local craft store. Most videos I see use a ton of products of which I cannot afford. So to start off, I'm obviously using some collections cardstock, which is 65 pounds, and that is really cheap cardstock that you can get at like Hobby Lobby or Michaels or maybe even through Amazon. I'm cutting it to 4 1/4 to 5 1/2, and that gives me 4 little pieces of cardstock to use on more cards in the future. Pulling out water and Studio G ink, and I'm trying to use it like most people use for Tim Holtz distressed inks or oxides. However, I do not have those because they're kind of pricey and I am cheap like most crafters are. And there I am spritzing it with some water and I'm going to try to dab it in there. The first attempt I did not care for. I did it wrong or something and it just looked weird. So I tried it one more time and same issue happened. So later, and I come in with darker colors and try a little bit of a different method with it, with swiping it, and I added even more water to it. So the card, this video honestly is almost pointless, and I'm just showing you how you can make mistakes, I guess. But that's life, and life is full of mistakes, as I was when I was born. Here I am. Oh, I'm drying it too, because that happens in a lot of videos that I watch. And you just dry it and dry it and dry it. And here we go with some pink, blue, and I have a dark purple, which took me about half an hour to find. And we're smushing it down on the craft mat, which cost me like $5 because I'm cheap and I used, I went to Michael's during Black Friday. Oh, see, yep, I drenched it with water this time like crazy, and I decided to pat it down, and then I just smushed it in there. And that's when I liked it. It gave it kind of a cloudy effect. And at this point, I was just playing around with it. I had no idea what kind of card I was even going to make. I just knew I wanted to use some scraps from other projects I've done in the past. And I'm drying it more, and then I'm going to add more to it because, more's better. I I like to add stuff. I don't know how to not add too much to something. You'll see later with my embellishments that I would have gone crazy had I not decided to take a step back from myself. Alright, and that's a baby wipe I'm using to wipe it away. I get them really cheap for like $1. I don't use that crazy expensive Huggies shit. And here we go. Oh, we gotta edit it to pause so you can look at it pretty. Yeah, there it is. Isn't that pretty? Looks like clouds. Alright, so now you will see me flatten it out with my Cuttlebug, which I'll show you where you can get that in the description later. And this usually is for embossing or die cutting your paper, but I also use it to flatten out my paper. I use an extra sheet to give it some more room and cushion, and so that the little glass plates don't press into it too much with they're already scratched up by other embossing or die cuts. So I put a little piece of paper there to also help with pressure. Now it didn't quite do it as well as I'd like, but here I am taking some die cuts that I had previously done for my daughter, and just they were leftovers, so I'm playing around with them. And this die cut is actually from Cricut, Cuttlebug, and a Griffith Butterfly Trio. Now that thing was like $16 to buy, but again, if you have a Cricut machine, it's totally worthwhile because you could just get some random images online and cut them out that way. This I just bought on a whim because I got the Cuttlebug, so I bought a bunch of other stuff. Here I am using my Cricut site to, so I don't have a lot of stamps, and I wish I did, but this is another way to do it. I do a print and cut. So I'm just making the general shape and size of the card I'm making and decide to type in all of the words I want. It took me forever to find out a quote I wanted to use. I just Google searched some stuff, Pinterest, whatever, and played around with it and different fonts. So that's what I'm doing. And I accidentally missed the font because this was a screen recorder that I had never used before in my life. So it stopped before I could show you the rest of the fonts. And I don't even remember what fonts I used. But here I am trying to make a little banner for it. And I ended up making one that was too big and I did not like it. So I went back and made 3 different sized ones. You'll see that here in a minute. And that way I could at least have a variety and I guess get more use of my paper. And I can use these little banners later on if necessary. So I have three set aside now, and the fourth one was used on the card. And here we go. We attach those together and make sure it is flattened to where it'll also cut itself, where the words are flattened onto the banner itself. So we print it and then we cut it on the Cricut mat. Make sure you take off that bleed part. I don't even know what that's for, but I watched another video that told me to do that, so I do that. Now my mat is always dirty because I don't care about using the screen on it. I'm lazy, like everyone else I know. And this is when I used just the one banner that ended up being too big. So I didn't record making the 3 banners. I don't know why I did that, but I did that. So yeah. And frankly, you probably don't even need to see me putting it on the mat and then pulling it out of the mat. I didn't even show you how I cut it out to begin with. But again, it's my first video and I don't really know what I'm doing here. Alright, let's take that paper right off. Yep, and then I cut the paper so I can save some paper. Yay! I'm thrifty as I am crafty. Let me take that right off. Yep, there you go. That little triangle is safe for later. I don't know. Today is a new beginning. Yes, it is. Alright, you see that? See, it's still warped. That paper was still warped. My Cuttlebug didn't do anything. I really should have put like 3 pieces of paper in between it, but I didn't. But it flattened it out a little bit better this time when I went through it. And just watch me flatten it out some more because you need to see it, you know? Has to be seen. Can't let any step go unseen, except for obviously cutting out the banner, or those butterflies for that matter, but they're left over. Maybe in a future video I'll show you how to do it. Anyway, I'm going to just keep going on and on, trying to flatten that out. And then it got stuck to my mat for a second there. Alright, Hope, let's get to it. Come on, get that card out, make that card. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Alright, flatten it out some more. It wasn't flat enough. And I did not feel like making it go through that Cuttlebug again. And there we go. The banner's too big. It looks terrible. Let's try to flip that butterfly up. Oh, no, that butterfly got flattened into the paper too. Yep, maybe this will work. Nope, doesn't work. Nope. Okay, let's move my hands a little bit and see if that makes me think harder. And tap the fingers. Yep, yep. All right, thinking. Oh, here's an idea. Let's cut out 3. There's the 3 that we've seen previously. Alright, now I'm going to fiddle around to figure out what I like the most. And just looking around. Yep, the bottom don't work. Now I like the middle, but is that banner too small? Maybe this one's better. Too small? Too big? Too small? Too big? Too small? There you go. Right there. Figured it out. Alright, so I'm going to use some AdTech double-sided liquid adhesive tape runner. I get that at Walmart. 4 packs for like $5. It is so cheap and it works great. There's a bit of a downside because sometimes the tape kind of pulls on itself and I don't know how to explain it. It's very weird. It's super sticky, but it works like a champ and it does what I need it to do. And it is so cheap at Walmart. So we just place that right on there, flatten it out. There you go. And then I have to put it on a card base, and I did the dumbest thing ever. You should always put your front panel on the card base before you add extra embellishments to it, as in rhinestones, because it makes it super hard for you to actually flatten it out. And here's my big mistake. Big mistake. My toner must be running low on my printer. So I ended up taking a Sharpie because I didn't have a thin point black pen and wrote over some of those letters to darken it. And I realized after I made that in, where you can see that big mistake, that I should have stopped there. But no, I thought, you know, I'll just do the D and the A and the Y. No, that made it even worse. So anyway, just don't do that and you'll be fine. If you have an issue with running out of ink or toner, just get a really thin pen, not a full-blown Sharpie. Anyway, here's my sequin or my rhinestones that I'm putting on there. I went gold to go with the butterfly, which actually was made from a glitter cardstock It is the Glitzy cardstock by DCWV. I got that probably at a Michael's or a Joann's or a Hobby Lobby. Who knows where I got it from. And anyway, so I really should have put these embellishments on after making my card base. But I decided to quickly make the card base, and I forgot to put it on the card base before doing that. So here I am deciding where on earth to do it. I use tweezers that I don't even know where I got these tweezers from. I just found them one day, and I don't tweeze my eyebrows because, well, let's face it, I'm fabulous as it is. I don't need to make everyone else more jealous of me. So I use them for my crafting, and there's a ton of glue stuck onto those tweezers, as I might mention, so it sometimes messes up on moving rhinestones around to get caught on it and stuff. Anyway, so I'm just using actually liquid adhesive Adtech glue too. I don't know what it is about Adtech. They make awesome stuff, and I use it all the time. Better than Elmer's glue, I might add. And I used to use Elmer's glue actually in Mod Podge for card making, and over time I've just gotten better at it. And this is not my best work. I just really wanted to play with inks and make a background and just have practice on the first video ever. So hopefully more videos to come because this was tedious work. Props to YouTubers, props to them. Alright, so I'm done putting on the rhinestones, and here comes the card base. I cut the base in half through the middle, making it 11 inches by 4 1/4, and scoring it in half. I don't have a scoring board, I just have a Cricut scoring pin that I actually end up putting through the trimmer itself to score the middle of it. So it makes the card itself 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And yep, there's the scoring pin. And it works like a charm. I used to use my Cricut itself on the map for scoring, but it warped the paper really bad, and I realized, well, why not do it this way? It's cheap. I already have the pin, and it works. So here we go. Put it on there. Now that paper was a little bit warpy still, so when I added the adhesive runner to it, it was hard to flatten out perfectly. And you'll see my mistake here in a minute. I end up pulling one of the rhinestones off since the glue hadn't completely dried yet. And here we go. We're going to try to flatten this thing out with those rhinestones on there that aren't completely dry and make a big mistake and fail at life. Oh, there it is. There's the mistake. Yeah, I try to cover it up with my finger as if anyone can't see it. But no, everyone knows that I've made mistakes in my life and I'm a terrible human being. Okay, all right. Let's, oh, see, fell off again. Yep. Fail. Let's try to put that back on there. There you go. It's on there now. We're all happy. Let's see the top of my head some more. Okay. And it's done. Beautiful. Thank you for watching my video. If you like it and want to see more, please subscribe below and like it. Thank you and have a wonderful day.